Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. You are listening to the Reds Report, the only fan-made podcast and vodcast, and the longest running, Carlo, about 8 years, I think, which is about a tenth of your life, I'm led to believe.
Take the VAT off.
Alongside me is my good friend and Dutch partner, Carlo van der Water. You all right, Carlo?
Yeah, very good. Looking forward to this one, mate.
Yes, I am too. You will also see, alongside me and Carlo, midfield maestro, one Mr. Brian Howard. You all right, Brian?
Yeah, evening, chaps. All good?
How are you? You're looking well.
It's been nice and sunny down south, mate, and just been in the garden every day. Nothing else to do in lockdown, so...
all right,
yeah,
don't rub it in.
Other than the appalling Barnet. So,
yeah, you're looking well. You don't like you've aged a bit since you won the boots.
No.
Or left us.
Thanks for that, mate.
Yeah, you're welcome, mate. We have to be nice to you, so you'll come back on.
That's it.
Shall we have a look at some of your stats from your time at Barnsley? Then I know you've been on bits and stuff before, but we'll try and make it a little bit different. We don't like to cover all ground, so to speak. Here we go. Carlo, just for the podcast sake, would you like to read those out?
So, Brian Howard, appearances 137, 28 goals, debut 51st minute, sub 27th of September 2005 versus Bristol City. We lost 3-0. First goal on the 84th minute on the 15th of October 2005 versus Blackpool, 2-2 draw. And his final appearance came on the 20th of September 2008 versus Southampton, which also finished in a 0-0 draw. He was the Supporters Player of the Year 2006-2007, the Barnsley FC top scorer 2007-2008 with 14 goals, and probably an accolade that every player probably wants in their life, the PFA Team of the Year 2007-2008.
Wow. Stats provided by Barnsley FC, BFC stats. They're always correct. They're not off Wikipedia. What do you think to those, Brian?
Yeah, impressive. I didn't realise that my last game was against Southampton. Obviously, living down here and coming through that, I didn't realise that. Obviously, 2006-07, getting Supporters Player of the Year is a massive accolade. And then Team of the Year of the PFA the following year. Although I got the Team of the Year, but I didn't get Supporters Player of the Year for the club, so can't really work that one out.
Yeah.
I mean, they are great accolades.
So that's a dig at you two.
It's Chris. Chris does your stats.
14 goals.
You obviously didn't vote.
Yeah. The 14 goals stands out to me. I'm assuming that's your highest tally in your career, because that's unbelievable, really, from midfield.
Yeah, do you know what? Again, it's one of those. It should be 15. I got one taken off me and got given as an own goal when it was blatantly my goal, and it's for a hat trick against Ipswich, I think, just after we beat Chelsea. And it got given to me on the night, and I got the match ball, and it got taken off me a few days later by the dubious goal. But
you didn't have to give the ball back though, did you, Brian?
I think it's still at my mum's house.
Oh yeah, because in York, it's an hat trick, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm still claiming that. So in my head, when I tell the story, it's an hat trick.
Those are obviously awesome stats for your time at Barnsley. Let's go further back. Was it always going to be a footballer, or was there any other sport or any other interests sort of growing up as a little lad down south?
Nah, football always. My dad was from Scotland, Glaswegian, massive Glasgow Rangers fan. From the moment I could walk, it was football. Big footballing family. A lot of their family members had played kind of semi-professional in Scotland or down south, and it's even continued now that Matt Targett, Aston Villa's my younger cousin. So it's always been a footballing family. And that was it. Even at school, when you get told you need to concentrate more at school because the chances of you making it is this, that, and the other. And then once you start playing for England schoolboys in the Victory Shield, 15 live on TV, you go back in school the following week. They're kind of like, okay, you've got a chance. So always football.
I didn't know that Matt Targett were related. He's a left pegger as well. Is that a thing that runs in the family?
I think, we're the two that have made it, had the better careers, and we're probably two of the left footers. So it's the righties need to get their act together.
As always. You always wanted a footballer, you said. Any idols in your time that, I don't know if you was the sort of like that, any posters on the wall, but who did you want to be like?
Brian, for goodness sake, I don't know if you watched the show, but do not say a Dutch player.
No, to be fair, a Danish player would have been one, Brian Laudrup. Obviously, I've got a Rangers fan, so kind of that the 9 in a row era, and when you had Gaza, Laudrup, Ali McCoist, left footer Alberts, obviously German, but them kind of players, and then obviously like Diego Maradona, and that, I kind of looked at him as a small left-footed player that can maybe score goals and do things out of the ordinary. So they were kind of heroes of mine growing up.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, this is the Reds Report. I'm going to talk about your time at Barnsley, and obviously move on to what you're doing now, which I'm very interested in what you're doing at the minute.
You don't need an agent. It's Sunday League. Nobody's interested. Just keep it flowing, Chris. Come on.
It's funny because I just got injured training as well. My calves. Just fill that gap, Brian. How did it transpire that you ended up at Barnsley? So there's been a lot of football played then on in. And am I right in thinking at that point you were signed maybe as a left-sided midfielder or a left-back?
Yeah, I was playing for Swindon that year, and I had a particularly good game at home and away against Barnsley. And Swindon at the time had financial troubles. We were getting paid by cheque. Again, if people have heard this before, then I won't stand it too long. We were getting paid by cheque, so they weren't offered. Everyone couldn't get offered the same deals what they're on. So it was time to move on. I had 4 or 5 options, but I remember playing away at Oakwell that year. Neil Austin, Anthony Kay, Paul Reed, people like that. Roy Fannin, I'd played in the England youth setup with, so I knew them well and always chatted to them when we played. And I remember coming off the pitch saying, "God, like, the atmosphere was good here today. I love this stadium, and I'd play here." And it kind of then, I did the option, and I came up and I met Andy Ritchie and Rick Holden that summer. Looked around the place, and it was a big decision because I could have stayed down south. I could have gone down to Bournemouth with Sean O'Driscoll. I could have gone to a couple of London clubs, but I thought, I was just turned 22, I think, and I was like, I want a different challenge in my career. And actually, with those young players, we're building a young squad similar to what they've done recently. I thought I fancy being part of that, and I think I'm going there to get promoted. I thought that at all the clubs that I had an option to go to, it was the best chance to get promoted, and it turned out that way. It was a great decision.
There was something about that group of players, wasn't it? It's funny you mentioned them because in the last few weeks we've had this with Rory Fallon, with Anthony Kay, with Bobby Hassel, and they all talk about. I mean, Bobby Hassel has a 10-year career, but the season he talks about, or the seasons, the highlights, not just because of what happened against Liverpool and against Chelsea, but just as a unit and a group of players, there was something special about that group. The mix was, everything was right, wasn't it? There was the ages, the experience, bit of pedigree here and there, and all the stars just seemed to align for that group of players.
Yeah, exactly. And we're all still friends now. I spoke to Bobby Hassel today. I was on the phone to Dale Tong earlier in the week for a long phone call, and we
coming on
spoke
tomorrow.
about it, and he compared. Oh, is he? Brilliant. He'll say, "Oh yeah, Brian bored me for half hour on the phone the other day."
Is that Bobby?
But,
I went on this report. What the hike? All right.
But we had the same conversation, and we said, Joe, that group of lads is similar to what they had last season and now, and a few years ago with like the Hurahan group. It's a squad of young players, kind of 24 and under, that have we've done everything together, as probably most of the fans know. We've done everything off the pitch together as well as on, and as well as being talented players. we played hard and worked hard, but you run through that brick wall for your mate. Yeah. And people think of that team now and you go, oh, well, was it Nick Colgan was the eldest player, maybe 28, and he was a goalkeeper, so he won experience. And then go, oh, Steve McPhail, but he was only 26. Was he 25, 26? And then everyone else was between 19 and 23, 24.
Yeah.
Even Bobby was, 23 and 24, and it just fitted, and it fitted well. And everybody got on. There wasn't a bad egg in the dressing room. And like I said, it just worked well, and it was competitive in training every day. Everyone pushed each other. You could tell someone what you thought of them in training, and you'd shake hands after and still be mates after. And you could tell someone what you thought at half time and after, and everyone would demand a bit more from each other. And I think it tells now that a lot of us are still close friends now. Like Reedy lives down south now. He moved in with me when he first moved down, him and his missus, till he found a place. And my missus still goes and sees his missus now, and just all things like that.
Yeah. You talk about that group. Does the manager or coach have anything to do with that? Because a lot of people talked about, Richie, about having that. It could be brutal when it needed to be, but he let you be lads when you wanted to be, and there was that mentoring sort of relationship. It wasn't just about football; it was about everything, and it seems that's made a lasting impression on everybody. Yeah,
they were brilliant. Andy and Rick were absolutely brilliant. They gave you enough rope to hang yourself, if you know what I mean, and they demanded certain standards in training, but they let you go and play. It was never a time where it was rigid. It was like, look, you're all young players. Stay, when we lose the ball, do this, do that, go and play. And he just gave you that encouragement all the time. And even when you're losing, look, there'd be obviously the odd occasion where you get shouted at, but a lot of the time it was always encouragement. It's like, come on, we know we're good players. Get your finger out and go and play your football. And I loved it. I loved the time under Andy and Rick. It was brilliant.
When you look back, and it's easy to look back, isn't it, and go, I enjoyed that bit most, or I enjoyed playing with that team. Is Barnsley your fondest memories in football? I mean, I spoke to a girl who I work with today. I said we were speaking to yourself. She's a massive Sheffield United fan, and straight away she talked about a goal that he scored in playoff. She's like, he made me one happy woman that day. So I don't know, because we only think of you as a Barnsley player. Yeah. We only think of you as playing for us, because I guess it's because we're ignorant in a way, but I'm assuming you had good times elsewhere as well.
Yeah, I had some great times in my career, and I was lucky to play in huge games for Barnsley. I played in player finals for Sheffield United, played in player finals for Reading. Won the league with Reading. I had good times at other clubs, but I think for consistency over a long period of time, it was Barnsley, and the way that I think I come there and I got injured straight away, so it's a tough start, and then. Like I said, I made the debut away at Bristol City, and I'd only played 60 minutes in the reserve game in 6-7 months before that game. But I travelled down with the squad, and we were 3-0 down, I think, at half time or early, and that's why I got chucked on. And I think I'd done particularly well when I came on, just because I was so enthusiastic to impress on my debut, and started the next game and then stayed in. Get promoted, then always felt that once I went to the Championship, that's where I'd play my best football, because I felt that's where I belonged or higher. And then to then get the captaincy, to go through the cup run, to captain a team at Wembley. I spoke to someone the other day about this. It's every kid's dream, right? You grow up thinking, you want to play at Anfield and score at Anfield. Yeah. You want to captain your team at Wembley. I've done those for Barnsley. So, it's always going to be top of my list. And that's not it being disrespectful to anyone else. That's because personally, a couple of moments, if I'd done 5 career highlights, them 2 would be in the 5, maybe even top 2.
Of course. You mentioned the Liverpool game. I'll put it on. You've probably spoke about it numerous times. We'll ask a few different questions about it, if I'm honest. What I really want to know, Brian, is what were the exact words that you were saying to the referee before striking that ball with such fury?
What time's this podcast going out? Is it after 9 o'clock? Is it after Watershed?
We have to. In fairness, we can set it so it's not for kids. So if you want to put a swear word in there, you're fine, because we always mark it as not for kids.
We can use another language. We'll know what you mean.
I think it was something like, you fucking kidding me? How can you not see that, you blind so and so? And that's a very polite way, I think, of what I said. And Joy, it's so funny that then I went back to Anfield in the FA Cup with Reading a few years later, and again won. And Martin Atkinson was ref, and he just said to me, "It's fate that I ref you here and you win twice." And if it was only 2 times I've played at Anfield, and I've got 100% record, so not many players would probably say that.
What's your record like with Martin Atkinson? Every time he referees, you win, or?
Normally there's a few yellow cards and a few other words shouted at him. But there's been a few refs over the years. Like where I was captain at most clubs, then I've always had good banter with refs, and we'll get on to what I do now. So obviously go to games, I still see refs after games and still have banter now. So
yeah,
it's all good. But it worked out well. And I wouldn't, if I didn't chase him and say that, I wouldn't have been in that position to pick it up. In the right
position. There's a famous Rooney goal, isn't there, where he does it against Newcastle.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember yours just as vivid, so strongly, unbelievable moment, Carlos.
And I've probably been in that position many times in my career for Barnsley and other clubs, and drove there. And I think Dabbers was on the right hand side. I'd normally slipped it to Dabbers for him to cross.
Yeah.
But I think, like I said, with the Rooney thing, because my head was just in a certain zone of angry, it was like, no, I'm just going to hit this as hard as I can. And
for a fan, I can remember coming home. I'd recorded it and watching Sky Sports Soccer Centre, whatever it was called at the time, and Jeff Stelling saying, "Martin Atkinson, you're having a laugh, you're having a laugh." I could see Simon Davey on the sideline going, calm down, when you've just scored what turns to be the winner. I remember Matt Letizia saying, "I told you about his left foot, I told you about his left foot." What are your memories of that day, sort of after the match? Had you realised what that meant, not only to the club, because it was a fantastic result, but to the fans, to the whole town?
No, well, I remember celebrating with the fans obviously after, thinking, "God, that's incredible," but still always such a blur because your emotions are so high still.
Yeah.
And then obviously I got whipped away as soon as we got in to the tunnel. I got whipped away to do Match of the Day, Sky, do all the press. So I was probably another half hour, 40 minutes before I got in the dressing room. Then I get in the dressing room and everyone else is kind of showered, calmed down, and I'm kind of like, and everyone's like, everyone's already had that moment, if you know what I mean. And then I remember getting on the bus, turning my phone on, and then obviously feeling shattered by that point, the emotional and everything from the game. And then my phone is going bing, 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 bing. And then probably the most amount of messages and missed calls I've ever had. And then,
Just amazing.
I remember the way home, and obviously some of the fans probably listening to this, the traffic getting back into Oakwell was an absolute nightmare. And we were stuck in traffic on the bus.
Right.
And I said, and we had the tunes on in the bus, and it got going again, and everyone was buzzing again. I said, "Come on, lads, right, we're in here," and whipped everyone off the bus into the mount. And I think we walked in, and it was one of those moments where everyone was celebrating in the mount, and then just like complete silence. Look, say. I walked in and was like, "Yeah, pint, please," and then whatever the boys are having. And they were like, "Yeah, you're not paying." And it was one of those pouring pints, sliding them down the bar. Everyone's in there. And I think one of my mates then sent me like a week later, it was in either one of the national newspapers, and it was like someone put a picture of me and them in, saying having a pint with him after the game. And yeah, just crazy things. I think that's what's always special that I found with Barnsley, and you probably couldn't do that now, but after a game of that magnitude and doing that, went and had a pint with the fans.
Yeah. It's the people's team, isn't it, Barnsley? It's the people's team.
Yeah.
You mentioned being a captain at numerous clubs. I'm very interested. What do you think makes a good leader, or what do you think put you in good stead, and why you were chosen so often to be captain in different clubs at different parts of your career under lots of different managers?
I think I was just always confident lad. Wasn't always just a shouter and baller, but I would try and lead by example. If I had to run further, if I had to make a tackle, if I had to do something, if the team weren't playing well, I'd get on the ball. Even if I lost it, I'd get on it again and try and get the team going as well. And I think other lads respected that. And I would always speak to people how I would want to be spoken to. So if someone made a mistake, but it was a genuine mistake, then it would give you encouragement. If someone wasn't on it and pulling their weight, they'd be told. And I think that's probably why coaches and managers saw that. And I always remember senior players then being great with me when I was coming through. So I always tried to help the younger lads.
Yeah. Just transferred upwards.
Yeah.
You took the skills from the players that you were playing with, put your own spin on it, and then
Of course.
Carlo.
I mean, I want to keep talking about the days of Barnsley, but I'm really, as knows, Chris is really interested. We spoke, it's a few years ago now. You came down to the East Dean Club where we did a charity sort of night with Bobby Hassel, wasn't it, and Martin Devane. You talked about being an agent, but you wanted to be a different agent. Now we asked a question normally to our the people we interview, which is sort of like a Rule 102, something you want to get rid of in football. And one of the people we unfooled, and I can't remember who it was, Chris, said we need to get rid of bad agents because they can ruin it. And I don't know if it was one of the people who's now like academy based or whatever. You're obviously now you're an agent. What skills to you does a good agent have? Does your football background, does that help? Or is it purely about business? What is it that sort of, I can't say sets you aside because I don't know your business obviously as an agent, but what is it that you want to do different?
I think all of that, what you said, I think, like where I was captain at most clubs, I played under a lot of coaches, managers, I played with and against a lot of people that are now coach managers. I like to think I'm quite well respected and everyone picks the phone up to me. Everyone gives me honest answers. And then similar to probably taking what I've just said about the captaincy into agency, I'd take that same outlook into my players. And if they're not pulling their finger, I tell them. If they're doing mistakes or they're down about something, we try and get them going again. And even in, like, say, lockdown, we've got a new mental health coach that works for us as the agency, individually to my players. But every third or fourth Monday, we've been having Zoom calls open to all of our players, and we've had 18, 19, 20 players at a time that come on. Some are being released at the moment. Some are worried about new contracts. Some are worried about playing in the pandemic. Some are worried about different things. And it's great for them to open up and talk and be able to speak to other players. And then they go, oh, it's not just me at home doing that, thinking, oh, can't be bothered to go out and keep my fitness up to date because I don't know what I'm doing that, or I don't know when I'm getting a contract. I don't know what's happening here. So that's just one thing that we try and think outside the box. And, again, I want to treat my players how I want to be treated as a player. So I've had so much experience of that.
Is it fair to say that you look after them as human beings, not just as football players that are ultimately assets to clubs?
100%. That's such a great way to put a spin on it. And I don't want to talk bad of people because it's not really the way I do things. But I worked at previous companies when I first started before I set up my own, and I felt sometimes in meetings that I was like, that players were talked about like a piece of meat. And I was like, hang on, I was a player. It's, and I think if you do a good job for someone now, obviously it is a business and agents make money out of players. Yeah. But there's a lot that do it just to make money and as much money and not care about the players. So if people are going to do that, why would you not go for an agent that's going to look after you? Again, it's a business, but I put the players first. And I say the same to my younger players now. Don't focus on the money because money's in football now. It's not like when I started where unless you were top end Prem, you can earn really good money throughout the leagues. Obviously, it might take a bit of a hit now with the COVID and the pandemic, but concentrate on being the best you can be, and the money will come. You'll earn the money. You'll earn all the other things, and that's the way I try and run my agency. I make sure I look after my players, and I'll do what's right for them, and I'll hopefully have a successful business.
I know it's probably Chris, really naive of me. Let's say we have at Barnsley, we've got lads at 16, 17, and they're now, say, breaking into Martin Devaney's under 23s. At what point does a player need an agent, if you know what I mean? Is it like an open day for agents to sort of come and introduce themselves? Is it a coach that said, listen, how does it work? How do you connect with that player?
You can't sign for an agency till the year of your 16th birthday, and even then your parent or guardian's got to sign off on the contract until you're 18.
Okay. Right.
For me, I still think sometimes that's too young, but because of the nature of the business, sometimes I'll miss out on players unless I do get players that young. And again, those players, you don't earn any money off them, and you don't want to take any money because you want to advise them, and it's about the bigger picture. For example, Jacob Brown, we've done 4 new deals for him in the last 3 years. We only earned off the last 2, so we've done 2 deals for nothing because we believed in Brownie would do what he's doing now, and you see him flourishing, and he's got a massive future ahead of him. And I think there's other boys in the academy as well that do it. I think clubs are becoming more aware, so when they have meetings for younger players, they say to parents, look, you're going to get an agent. It's the nature of the business. we trust certain people.
Yeah.
You know, but a club can't go, here's a player's number.
I kind of wondered about recruitment and stuff like that. It's interesting you've gone on to that, how you kind of build up a bit of your team to a certain degree.
Yeah. I mean, I would never, because I've obviously got great relationships with, where obviously like Tongi was there, Bobby, Davers, so I could be phoning them every day going, oh, get me in this player, get me in that player. But that would put their job scrutiny on it. You know, that's not their job. Their job is to produce players. But they're happy if I look after a player because they know that I'll look after them correctly and they'll be getting the right advice to progress in their football club. And hopefully there's a young one now, I'm not going to say his name, who's hopefully he's going to get offered a new contract, and hopefully I've spoken to him and his mum and dad on Zoom over the last few weeks, and hopefully he's going to come on board, and I've done it the right way. And I spoke to Bobby, and I said, look, I've spoken to this player direct, blah, blah, hopefully he's going to come on board with me. I want to come through the front door and tell you first. And he's gone, great, at least he's going to get right advice. And now I've got to go to the hierarchy at the club and say, you know, I'm looking after these players. But even the hierarchy at the club have said, look, you know, if a young player goes with you, we're happy because of what you've done with the likes of Jacob, and because you've done what's right for his career.
It sounds to me like the stuff that you mentioned about being captain, a lot of that skill set in terms of being a middle manager, and you're dealing with a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds. It sounds like all of that skill set is needed for the job that you're doing at the minute. And I can tell you're really enjoying it just by how you're speaking about it, which is good. What is it you enjoy about it the most then, Brian? Just seeing the players succeed and you knowing that you're part of that journey?
I love watching the players play. Love it. You know, I miss football so much. And then to get the game on last night and look after, obviously, Conor Henderson, to watch him play in the Premier League, it's just great to watch him play. And then tonight, I'm keep catching my eye over there because the playoffs are on, and got players playing in the playoffs tonight. So I love watching the players play. I don't have kids myself, but when I go and watch players play, it's like watching my kids or my brother or my cousins. And you try not to get emotionally invested in the game, especially when we've got players on opposite sides. But you know, you just get passionate about it, and all the rest take care of itself. You know, we've got group chats with our players. Even today, we're in banter with players about people coming back in the games, and boys that are now going to be playing at the weekend in the Premier League and playoffs, back playing in the Championship at the weekend. So yeah, love all that. Love adding value. I think that I'd add value to someone's career. If I didn't, and I think if you look through all of our client lists and everyone, I think nearly every single one of our players, since they've been with us, have gone upwards. Obviously, there's some that are going to be at the end of their careers that might be plateauing out, but ones that we've got that might have had a year down, or for example, someone like Jordan Clark came through at Barnsley. That's go to Aki, worked his way through. We got him as a client a year ago, or just under a year ago, and now we've worked on a couple of different things. He's been unbelievable. Now he's going to hopefully get a move that he deserves back where, you know, hopefully, you know,
it belongs
in the Championship. Yeah. So for that, I think we've added value to his career.
Yeah.
Right, I need to, because obviously we've only got about 10 minutes left. A question then. In my all-time favourite Barnsley FC team, I'm playing a 5-man midfield. I just want to read them out because these are just legends. So you've got Redfern, Hignett, Howard, Horahan and Mowat. Who's going to be captain, Brian?
Me.
I've always said that there is something about Barnsley and midfielders, isn't it? If you look at Redfern, before that as well.
Other than Higgy.
Sorry?
Oh, Higgy.
Is it only Higgy that's not left-footed as well?
Yeah.
Even though his left wasn't bad. I remember playing a charity game, he scored a great volley with it.
He's still, isn't he? There's something about, though, that almost like that number 8 role, isn't it? If you look at Redfern, the career he had, Hignett, you know, Brian Howard, you know, my love for Conor Henderson. Still, he's left, I don't know how many years ago. We contacted him about a year and a half ago. We did a charity thing for one of the men's mental health charities. Sent a signed shirt that he got from the club shop. So he's always really open, honest.
He's coming on, isn't he?
Well, we're waiting for a Villa say so. So if you can have a word with him. And I think Alex Mowat is on the verge. I think the good thing with Horahan is he had some really good people around him. And I think at this moment that Barnsley is still a bit of a transition side. There's a lot of the younger players, and I think Alex Mowat has got that pedigree. And but there's something with also right. So Chris, then for me, Howard's captain in my midfield.
I've got thousands of questions about being an agent. Honest, I could just be here all night because I mean you've probably had thousands of questions thrown at you about Barnsley before, so I just don't really want to cover all ground. I guess how big is your client base now, Brian? Is it 20, 30, 40?
So there's me and my business partner, Phil Corklin. I met him working.
Shall we have a look? See if you can spot. Let's have a look.
What's he got?
Let's have a look what we've got here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've got that there. Is that...
Hold on, you need to go...
So
I'm coming. Here we go.
There you go.
Yeah, so Phil's my business partner on the left.
Yep.
With the glasses. I met him working at a previous company.
He's got lovely hair, Brian. Like you want. He's got lovely hair. Yeah. He's got a great beard, he tells me. He's not like that in lockdown. I was on Zoom earlier. It's not like that. But we met working at a previous agency and we just had the same ideas. And we just started signing players together and we said, we should do our own thing. And we did. It was tough to do at the time. It always is when you branch out on your own. But we've gone from strength to strength. And then on the right is Danny Blanchett, who's just come on to work for us because I said we've got 40 plus players now. Wow.
And we signed 2 yesterday actually. So there'll be more. There'll be a few more coming on when we're allowed out a bit more of lockdown. So Danny's come on with it. He's got some of his own players and to help manage the other players because you need to provide the service that we offer.
Is there a target, Brian? Is there always a target? It's obviously at the minute we know Barnsley's current transfer targets and the routine that they're fitting into and that signing a certain type of player that try and develop. Is there a target for yourself? Do you think, is it that age range? Is it just
just good players, good players and good people. That's what I want to look after.
I've got a really silly
good
question.
Players that are ambitious.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Brian. Sorry, finish up. Sorry.
No,
ambitious players.
Good players, ambitious players. But it don't matter how old they are for you. It don't matter.
No.
What's the oldest player you've got, and what's the youngest player you've got?
I think Lewis Price did a goal at Rotherham. Okay, I just had a message from him actually. He's the oldest at 35. Then we've got I think Dave Martin at West Ham 33, 34. So the goalies are kind of the older ones. And then outfield players kind of like Conor at 29. And then you go down and players in it. Jack Rolls at Tottenham, really good young player. He's 21. Brownie's 22. Loads in the mid-20s. That I was thinking ones that you'll know because of the Barnsley connections, like Luke Berry, Jordan Clark, George Maris. And then we've got some younger ones hopefully coming through that are going to do well.
And really,
it's like a football club, really. You've got to have them right the way through, and then it's like the next one.
Yeah, of course.
You recruit the next one. Yeah, one player yesterday, he's 23, but he's unhappy with his agent. He's at a Premier League club. Luckily, he's friends with family, and he's come to me and said, I want a different direction because I don't feel I'm getting the right advice and being pushed. I feel like I can talk to you better than what I can. He's got more of a business agent, if you know what I mean. If you looked at an agent, a suit and tie, blah, blah, rather than someone that, went and sat with him yesterday and sat in a park to meet when I had a iced coffee with him and just chatted. And it's like, I can't do that. So, just offer different things and try and be different.
Yeah.
A question from a fan that was actually on our Twitter. I don't know if you saw it, Chris. I took care of it because I know we're both working, but we've got a fan who in Conor Henderson's last match for Barnsley, she was the mascot and she's got a shirt, a Barnsley shirt with Henderson. She says, he asked, is there any possible way if he can send it to you, whatever, if Conor could sign it because it's a Barnsley shirt that she's got. She would just like a signature on it.
We'll get it done. But let's...
nothing would be sent during this pandemic or anything. I mean, and there's no time limit on it. She just misses him so much.
Stuff like that. It's just, I imagine Conor will do stuff like that. And you can ask him hopefully when he comes on. But I think at the moment, it would be difficult to do, but I imagine that he would.
No. When everything's sorted...
He's a great guy.
I've said it before. I said it last week. I can't even remember who we interviewed. We've got players for Barnsley, played for Barnsley, did really well, that move on, that will always be players. You've got players for Barnsley that did really well and that will always be remembered for legends. And you don't have to have been, been promotion or anything. It's about the human, isn't it? It's about that person. Conor, on and off the pitch, was always. And as a fan, we all knew Conor were going. We all knew. And he deserved to go because the club, let's be honest, was in a bit of disarray with the upper management and everything. But if you can sign off with a goal like that against the team from, just up the M1.
Where are you going with this, Carl? Are you just
No. What I'm saying is...
Was it a free kick against Leeds?
Yeah.
Come
on, we've got Brian Howard on. He's better than Conor.
No, it's like we were having chats the other day, actually, obviously, because we were in lockdown, so we were a bit bored, but we were discussing different goals and whose goals were better and like top 5 goals and stuff like that. So
a few questions then, Brian. I'm looking for player that you've played with and also current client. All right, so you might have to think about it. Who is the quickest player you've played with and current client? Sorry, I said client. It's not probably the right word, is it?
Yeah.
But,
no. Jimmy Kebe was probably the quickest player I played with at Reading, right winger. Yeah. He was. He was absolutely rapid. He was a dream sometimes to play with because if you were in trouble, you just stuck it in behind the fullback and you'd get it. He'd catch it every time. Really good player as well. Probably a bit underrated. I think went a bit under the radar because he done really well in the Premier League and in the Championship for Reading. So he was the quickest I played with, I think. And then probably Brownie would be up there. With current client. I think he's going to come back from. I don't want to put him under too much pressure, but I know what he's been doing all this. I know how hard he's been working off the pitch.
He spoke about his mental strength. He spoke about his mental strength today as well in the press conference, which I think for a young lad like that is just high hopes. High hopes.
Yeah. Well, from the mental stuff, the mental health thing we've been doing online with our players, he took something away from that. And again, not all the players will. And he went, I'm going to turn my phone off for certain hours of the day and read books. And he said in 3 weeks, he read 4 books. And about, there's a chimp parody book. There was books, it might have been the All Blacks one, a mental one. So he's gone right, I might not be able to, I'll train every day, but might not be able to train competitively every day. But I'll make sure I'm focused in my mind. For someone like that age to go and do that, incredible.
Chris, you've got just under 20 seconds left, mate.
Of course. We'll say goodbye then. Carlo, thank you very much for joining us on our podcast. It's been a dream. Brian, please come back. You're a very interesting man. Obviously, highly intelligent. You really care about your player, which is good to see. And please come back on. Not just as a Barnsley midfielder or an agent, but just as a friend. We really appreciate you, mate. That's spot on.
Any time it went really quick and could have stayed on for ages. Cheers, guys.
All right. Fantastic. Cheers, Brian.
Yeah. Ta-ra, mate.
Bye.